Good afternoon, friends. Once again, it's Prashant Ajmera going live on YouTube. Uh, Today, we're going to talk about the residency and citizenship by either study, direct immigrations, or by investment into Prince Edward Island, the last province of Canada. Today, we're going to conclude this 10-day series. You can go and check on our websites. On every day, we have talked about in detail a very honest rules and regulations about the study and settlement or direct immigration or business immigration to different provinces. Obviously, because of the limited time, we have talked about the highlighted point which one should keep it in mind, which I would like to reiterate again here with respect to study in Canada or study anywhere in the world. Number one, if you are studying after the 12th, go to university. And if you are going to a university, make sure that the finance is not a problem. Do not think that if you go and study abroad, your life is set. Because the things which were there 30 years before, which is no more there. So that's also you have to keep it in mind. If you want to study, you can study only at the university, not at the college. Please remember, master's program is not a program. PGDBM is not a master's program. It's a university which only gives you a master's program. So do not have a confusion between PGDBM is like a master's. In most of the university, particularly in Canada, uh, the PGDBM is after the 12th standard. So it's like our polytechnic in India. But in every subject, this post-graduation diploma is available. Do not depend on that. Once we go there, we are going to get a job and we can finance our educations by working there in Canada or in foreign country, because you might have difficulties getting a job. Also, try to see that when you are going to study, that you are studying at the university, you should decide, and there is an enough demand of your occupations in that country, because many children of the wealthy parents are going to study something like a psychology, sociologies, economics. These are the great subjects, but one has to see in perspective whether there is a demand of this kind of an occupation in that country or not, and if there is a demand, then how are you going to get your immigrations? Like my own daughter went to study in Canada to start with the psychology, and now she is studying the recreational therapy, which is a specialized branch to this one. So if you do this kind of a program which is in demand in that country, then only it can work in your favor to get an immigration. So let's start today's presentations on the Prince Edward Island. Prince Edward Island is a tiny island on the eastern side of the Canada. And the main city of the Prince Edward Island is the Charlottetown. So the first kind of immigrations, obviously, like any other study visa, it applies to Canada as well, which is that if you study for a 1 year, you're going to get a 1 year of work permit. If you study for 2 years, you're going to get a 3 years of work permit. That universal rule applies to the Prince Edward Island as well. But Prince Edward Island has a one very unique program, particularly shortage of the worker in a lower end, that which is we call it a C and D category. So if you have a full-time job offer, if you have a 6 months of have worked in PEI, and if you are 12 standard passed, only 4 bands in IELTS, and if you have 2 years of an experience in 5 months, if you can provide a proof of fund, then it can convert into an immigration. So this is called a critical workers category of Prince Edward Island. So even in the D category, that means completely a labor category. Also, if you are in a position to obtain a job, it can convert into an immigration. So many people who are not highly educated and still interested in immigrating to Canada, they should consider the critical category of Prince Edward Islands, whereby you have a job offer in C and D category. If you are an international graduate, that means you have studied in Prince Edward Islands and now you wish to convert into an you should have done 1 year of study in Prince Edward Island, 1 year of work permit, you should have it. and then if you get a 2 years of job offer, then and if you have a 5 bands in IELTS, then also it can convert into immigration. But you should be available for an interview in Prince Edward Island, because in most of the categories, Prince Edward Island governments would like to have the interview the candidates. If you are into the express entry pool, and if you believe that you wish to apply for an immigration to Prince Edward Island, or would like to be considered for the Prince Edward Islands PNP program, then here you have two things. One is that you have a job offer from Prince Edward Island, and based on that one, you are applying for a PNP program. But even if you do not have it, but if you believe that your skill set and your uh, means experience, education, and everything is such that it can be acceptable in Prince Edward Islands, then you can apply online on the separate portal of the Prince Edward Islands, and make sure that you get considered for the Prince Edward Island nominee program. Also, obviously, skill worker is category is always open, which is basically under the skill worker categories. You are having a O, A, and B categories. You have a job offer. You are working with a valid work permit in Canada. And you can attend an interview. 2 years of studies after the 12th standard is necessary. You should be 2 years of an experience in last 5 years and IELTS band. So the Prince Edward Islands, I see in two ways the beneficial for people to get an immigration. One is in respect to that it gives you a D category as a critical worker, and if you have a job in that category, then also it can be converted into immigration. And IELTS band requirements of the Prince Edward Island is comparatively much lower than the express entry program and the other PNP programs of the other provinces. So, and also, but the another good thing about the Prince Edward Island is that in many categories they are not requiring to take the IELTS. They are not requiring to take the IELTS. If you can show a proof that you have studied in college or in the school in the English medium, and the medium of instruction in the post secondary school was in English medium, then also you do not need to take. This is the new regulations or new provisions the Prince Edward Island government has made it for people to take an advantage of. Without an IELTS, they can apply for an immigration. Now, the one more category which is left is the Prince Edward Island, is the business category, which is one of the most popular category. They have opened up for many years, and they used to have a three categories in subcategories, but now that subcategory has been reduced to only one. They call it a entrepreneurs work permit categories. What does it mean? That if you are having $600,000 in an assets, 600,000, which is about a 3.25 crore rupees in an assets. If you are 12 standard pass, if you are 12 standard pass, and if you are between the age of 21 and a 59, if you have a business experience of 3 years, if you have a 5 band in IELTS, and if you are ready for an interview and you have a business plan, if you have a business plan to execute or show a business in Prince Edward Islands, then based on that, you can obtain the immigration of Prince Edward Island. How the process works, or the process is in the following manner: that first you have to make your applications and document ready, and make an expression of interest online on the PEI government websites. Once you have made an application, within the 45 days, they will approve your applications in principle and gives you a 45 days time to submit your documents. Once you have submitted the documents, the Prince Edward Island will give you a second approval of your applications, which will allow you to obtain a work permit to start and manage your business in Prince Edward Islands. Once you have done this and you are allowed to come to Prince Edward Island, Either you can start your own business, you can acquire a business, you can go for a franchisee, or you can do a partnership with somebody as well. Once you have started your own business, if you have made an investment of around $150,000 and above, and if you run and manage this business for a period of 1 year, the Prince Edward Island will give you a final nominations. And with that final nomination, you are in a position to uh, obtain the immigration of Prince Edward Island with husband, wife, and children under the age of 22. Now, the biggest advantage of getting an immigration in advance before your children start going to a university is that it can reduce your fees substantially by almost 80%. So, if you are in Canada, if you are interested in settling in Canada, first things, if you are a businessman or uh, high qualified professionals, please consider the business immigration to Canada or owner operated category. Under these two categories, you can get an immigration in 2 years period of time. You can move to Canada in the 6 to 8 months period of time. And once you are in Canada, you run and manage your business for a period of 1 year or 2 years, and based on that, you can obtain the immigration of Canada while staying in Canada. You do not have to leave Canada. And that is the very ideal scenario for many businessmen, because compared to the other programs of the EB5 program of USA or the E2 visa from Canada, I believe that the Canada has 10 different programs are there across the Canadas. You can go into it, and most of the program has, except the New Brunswick, most of the program has a similar kind of a requirement, whereby you can have a 3 crores and plus in an assets or your own assets, 2 to 3 years of an experience of running and managing your own business. Once you have run and managed this business for a period of 2 years in Canada, you can go for an immigration. So that's all we have it today for the Prince Edward Island. Uh, because they have a very limited programs, but these are great programs for somebody who wish to immigrate to Canada. Either you look into the skilled worker categories after studying into Prince Edward Islands, or you consider the business immigration category. In Prince Edward Island, for the business categories, there are government approved agents only, and you can submit your file through those few agents only. You cannot, either you can submit the file, but in most of the cases, government asks you to submit the file through that local agents only who are authorized by the Prince Edward Island government. So now we are concluding all our series about the immigrations and settlement in Canada, which we are doing it for 10 years. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, Ajmera Law Group, youtube.com/Ajmera Law Group, or you can go live on our live page, ajmeralaw.com/live, ajmeralaw.com/live. Thank you very much. It was great having this series, which is now all available on our YouTube channels. So for every province, let me start again with the provinces: British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Islands. These are all the provinces we have done the each episode on each day for 20-25 minutes, and you can go and check on our websites. Please share with your friends and relatives. Uh, because of the limited resources now, as we are in coronavirus, these are not very fancy videos, uh, but we have tried to give a very honest and correct information. So go and have a look at it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.